Hi class, this is JilMac. I'm the instructor for the Community College of Vermont and also Wyndham Regional Career Center and different companies and one-on-one tutoring. My students know if there's something in a video they have a question about, they can give me a call. Today's video, I'm going to open a browser window and I have my website up. And if we go to workshops and classes, we are working in web development, and in web development we have our different assignments, and I've broken these up into single pages to help clarify some things. So in web assignments, this is assignment 4, and in assignment 4 we are doing both chapters 7 and chapter 8 to kind of get an overview of style sheets. Let me blow this up a little bit more. I've created my first video, which is on chapter 7, and this one is going to be on chapter 8. So as soon as that's complete, I'll put the link on here. We know that we can go to our web textbook and we can go to download the files, but it also gives us an overview of each chapter, and we're going to be talking about chapter 8 today. And chapter 8 is working with style sheets. Now, our first example is just a style sheet. It's not HTML, it's just looking at the style sheet. And we find that on page 90. So if we look at this style sheet, it's very simple. We're just starting to begin to work with it. So we're starting out small. The image is going to have a border, and that border is going to be 4 pixels, and it's going to be solid, and it's going to be red. And the image is another way to write this exact same border. This is a shortcut, and this is the longer cut, the longer kind of explanation, but it says it the same way. The border width is going to be 4 pixels. The border style is going to be solid, and the border color is going to be red. So this is the longhand way of looking at it, and this is the shorthand. So when you're looking at CSSs, they could be written in either way. The modern way is to make it as small as possible for phones and tablets because you download that CSS along with it. But to kind of understand it, written out long way is a little bit nicer. So that's what this first example is showing us, is what does CSS look like. So let's look at, on page 192 of our textbook, we can look at the style. So here is the style sheet, and this is an external style sheet, and here is the code that goes along with it. So let's look at this external style sheet. Same one that we looked at first, the style.css, but our link external style sheet. And what I'm going to do to look at this, because if we look at the page, it shows us this is the HTML. It has a border of so many pixels, and it is a solid line, and it is red. If we go and we look at our code and we look at it in our editor, so if I go into chapter 8 and I want to look at this link external style, I can go to this link external style, and there's two examples. I'm going to open this in Notepad++, and this is what my code looks like. So my code is basically telling you the content of it. It's telling you what is going to be this header, and it's going to be a header 1, and it's going to have 2 different images, and the images are in the image subdirectory, and the first image, this is the name of it. It's giving you the width and the height, and it's giving you an alt tag. And then in the paragraph, it's telling you, I love the, and then it's giving this a span. And here it's just giving you more information. But how it's styled is this, that it's using an external style sheet, and that the name of the style sheet is style.css. So that is, this link right here is telling us go and pull in this style sheet to style this page. So that's what we see in that example. Now let's go back and look at the next example, which is example number 2. And it also uses the same style sheet. So if we go back here, this is an image, and the image has this style sheet around it. Now if we wanted to change it, we could change it on page, let me see which page it is. Well, it wasn't. It was in the previous chapter. In the previous chapter, on page 182, they give us the 16 different predefined colors, you know, red, yellow, white, and you could take this code, this style sheet code, let's look at that code again, and you could change it from red to typing in one of those 16 predefined colors. So that's an example of that. I'm going to go back. And let's look at the next example. The next example is create an embedded style sheet. And this is what it looks like. And when we look at the code, which is create an embedded style sheet, and we'll open this in your editor. Mine happens to be Notepad++. We can bring this code up. Now this is an embedded style sheet. This style sheet happens to be right inside the HTML. And let me just file, close all. I thought there was a close all, but this one, so we'll just close all. No. Then we'll go back and just open it again so we're not confused with so many different tabs up. So this is an embedded. It has the style sheet right embedded in it. And so it's showing you the same example with the style sheet embedded. Now we'll go back. So that was on page 194. On page 196, this is apply an in style. Now notice how only one of these has the border around it. So apply an in style. Let's look at that code. So here we are applying an in style, and here we have the style right inside with the image. Okay, so we have our whole image, and then we put the style right in with the image. So on this example, the ticket window, or tickets.jpg file, it doesn't have the style. And that's why this image has a style and this image does not. And that's what we call inline. So this is an inline, which is on the line with the JPEG image. This is an embedded style sheet where it's right in the HTML. And then we had our first example where we used an external style sheet. Okay, so let's go back and look at the next. Here we have another way of putting a style sheet in where it is telling us a class instead of inline. So here we have a class instead of inline. So here we're using a class instead of inline where the class is equal to frame. Now this also happens to be using a CSS, and here's the CSS where they've named this class, and naming the class with a dot frame, so that we have the dot frame in the CSS, and this is how it's being called. So there's several different ways of formatting with a style sheet in an HTML. And that's what this chapter is kind of explaining to us, is the different ways that you can have styling applied to any particular image. And this is, basically there's the frame, but it's not looked at in Notepad++. Here, the cascade and the order of styles. So here we have our style sheet. Once again, same style sheet. And in figure B, the importance of location. And here we have the importance of location. If I look at it, importance of location, and let's bring up that code. Here we have a style sheet, and the style sheet is embedded, and we are telling it that we want a border style of dashed. So it's giving us the dashed lines instead of the solid lines. That's one of them. And here we have a style sheet and we have a print style sheet. There's many times that you want it to be printed out different than you want it to be displayed. And here's a little comment in our CSS that it says make the text larger. Notice the use of the points. So the font size is giving it a larger font size, and the image says don't include any images, so that you can have print style sheets as well as display style sheets. And in our last, we have base styles plus media print in this example. This is a CSS, and this is the HTML. So the HTML looks like this. It's giving us a little bit of italicized there. And when we look at our CSS, base styles plus media print, and I think I'll look at that. So it's base styles plus media print. Let's look at it in Notepad++ so we can see that side by side. Here, we're giving it a border of solid, and the font color, or the paragraph color, is orange italics. Am I looking at the right one? No, not that one. Oh, here it is, the orange, right. Okay. So here it is, the color is orange, and the font style is italic. So we have the image styling and we have the paragraph styling. And then within the printing, so here we're doing media print, we have a font size of 25, and the color is going to be 0, which is black, and the image is not going to display. So this is just going to print a larger font, and it's not going to print the images. So this is kind of giving you some other examples for Chapter 8 of Cascading Style Sheets. Thank you very much, and we'll see you in the next video.